We just, as usual, give it a couple of minutes and we can get started. Good to have you, Marius. Yes, thank you. It wasn't bad at all. A pretty good Friday and not a bad yesterday either. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's pretty busy anyway, so it's going to be even more traffic grind, I reckon. I think a lot of the Cape Townians should leave at that time. Go down the garden route or wherever. Oh, must admit, did a lot of hiking when I lived there as well. It's a club I joined called Meridian, don't still go. Morning, Marius. Yeah, I'm just going to point out, happy Monday. Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to point out you can obviously go on the live chat as you see, or you can unmute if you want to chat or ask questions. Just want to mention it is more of a forum than a class, so it's very important because I might need you today because it's pretty quiet out there, where we get together and try and find trade ideas, practical trading ideas, and of course learning various strategies and interacting. Some you're not sure about, just ask and hopefully it'll start falling into place. Yeah, I must admit, I've done that a couple of times. You're 4 weeks pregnant, well, 4 weeks, yeah, okay. But yeah, I've done it a couple of times. Kirstenbosch was quite a long haul, right through the top, and then came down by the cable car. That was several years ago. About 3-4 times. Naught out of naught. Morning, Fora. Okay, that's past. Just mentioned. Yeah, it is. Yeah, well, I was a lot younger then. So hell of a traipse up there. It's a full-on day hike to the top, and then just to come down by the cable car. Anyway, to move on. Yeah, it's. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't forget, interact is the name of the game. If 1 or 2 people interact and the attention spans on them, well, because they're putting their hand up. So if you're not sure, please don't be embarrassed to put your hand up and ask. What are they on about? Everyone's talking about economic calendars, dollar indices. Can I have some of that? Absolutely, I can copy and paste. It's most vital, in fact, that we're all on the same page, and we'll get there. Okay, right. Just let the guys in. So you're joining now. Okay, right. I'm gonna need your help a little bit today. I've been going through probably 3-4 times this morning, looking for trade ideas, and I'm backing to find them. You can see I've got the S&P 500. That's the index of 500 shares in the American index. I see some downside, but I need a bit of moral support on it. We had a trade out last week. It did pretty well. I think most guys are stopped out. If they did what I mentioned there, if I stopped at 3,800 and would have been stopped out in a profit. Always remember, when you've got a target on, it doesn't always reach. You might say sell there, stop loss 4,000, target 3,600. It may or may not reach that target. We don't know. So don't sit there say it must reach that, or just hang on in there. And you're up nicely. You haven't modified your stop loss. Something happens, and it turns around and shoots back up again, and then you're stopped out in a loss. We do not want to turn winners into losers. There are going to be times where you're going to make only a certain amount of money instead of more money, because you're stopped out in the movement, because you modified, and it goes on and reaches the target, you're not on board. That is going to happen. But rather that happened and you miss out than trying to hang on for the TP, which may not materialize, and then it shoots back up. Some fundamental comes out, something changes, a bomb goes off somewhere or whatever, and then suddenly you're kicked out in a loss when you're in nice profit. Very frustrating. I know it's frustrating when you're not on board and reach the target. Trust me, it's much more frustrating if your winner turns into a loser. I've played around with a lot, so that's very important. Okay, so there we are. Now, so the only one I can think of at the moment is this particular one. We've got the non-farms coming out Friday. We got the 8 o'clock on, I think it's Wednesday. This is Wednesday, yeah. Interest rate decision with the Fed, which can affect the markets. We've got the ADP coming out on Thursday, normal jobless claims, etc. There's quite a few coming out this week. So just bear that in mind. I'm not saying that to scare or mustn't do anything, just bear it in mind. Okay, as I say, I've looked through this morning to try and find reasonable trades that have got a high probability clearly, and apart from this one, which is not that high a probability, I don't want to be negative here, but it's okay. But I think I expect some downside. The DXY I've mentioned many times. I expect it very difficult where we protect small profit and let us get right in. I adjust it very difficult where we protect small profit and let our stop right in. Not sure clearly what that means. I'm not sure you agree or disagree with the modification of stop loss. Not quite sure what you mean by that. Sorry about that, Mike. But so just go back in the meantime to this one here. The dollar index seems to be gaining a bit of strength, and the yields on the 10-year note, check again on the screen, seems to be back above 4,000. Bit of a racket in the background there. Just get, if you want to speak, I'd unmute, not a problem. Okay. Right, so yeah, that's holding about 4,000. I think this is overcooked. The NAS is up at sort of the top of the range now, and overall, there's a lot of problems, like I mentioned many times out there in world markets. I think it's just a sell the rally, so sell into strength. Now, sell the rally, and we've got that, in my opinion, some downside here. Just want to go, as I mentioned, the Nasdaq there. Some guys coming in just a second. We've got the Nasdaq here. Remember, that's the range. I've got a weekly snippet coming out, and it seems to be holding that range. So I think that's the top of the range coming down. The only thing, remember, the Nasdaq is before you compute it, make sure you got some money in there, because you don't want to try and trade the Nasdaq on small accounts. Anything below 5 grand, I personally think on the sidelines of the Nasdaq, because the wide stops and the high volatility. And yeah, you shouldn't really on a 5 grand account be risking more than about 300 odd rand. And if you want to do the NAS, you need about a 200 pip stop, which is over 300. So just bear that in mind. Certainly not 1 or 2 grand. That's why I often mention for guys who've got less than 5 grand or so to look at the S&P, because It's the same contract size. Remember I mentioned before, just do it again. Left click, right click, left click on specification, gives the information on that specific instrument, gives the margins, etc., and also gives you the contract size, which is 10. Remember 10 on the 3.8, it's also contract size of 10 on the NAS, which is over 11,000. So it's about 4 times or 3 times or whatever the amount with the same contract size. So it gives an opportunity to put a stop loss in the correct place without the same amount of money required. So yeah, I think I do see a bit of a pullback from here. Sell the rally. It's going up to a bit of a support or resistance area, depending whether you go long or short. I'm for the shorts. It's at support there. I think a bit of downside. I'm expecting a bit of downside. So yeah, what can I say? Where would I put the stop? Somewhere up here. Don't it's going to be too wide, which would be a pleasure. A little bit wide than that. Maybe up here, which is not too wide. Only 76 pips, which is very handleable for even small accounts. And it's in the correct place. It's not a thumb suck. It is out of the way. So I do quite like this trade. It's about the best I can come up with, to be honest. Unless you can find something, Zeph and the guys. Yeah, but if you do like it, I'll put the risk reward calculator on and we can take it from there. Okay, good. Shorts come up for a change. Normally falls for long head. Now I've done all that, so make sure I've got the stop loss in the right place. 70 odd pips, excuse me. Put it up here somewhere. Call it 3970. Okay. And that's good enough. Where is that? Yeah, that's good enough. Don't forget, we put it a bit tighter actually. Don't forget, if it gets there and it TP'd out, what a pleasure. If it gets there, and you might have a bit of a hiccup there, and you see bounce, you can take your profit, you made some money. If it starts zooming down there, you can modify, don't forget your TP further down, modify your stop and ride it. Okay, so once you get nice into profit, then you can obviously move your TP. But the major consideration to go in is getting the risk reward correct. I'd call that 150 round figure, 150 rand per 0.01. Very important to do the maths on that. If you've got $5 in your account, you can probably go for 0.02. If you've got 2 or 3 grand, maybe 0.01. Okay. If you're chicken, that's fine, not a problem. I'm chicken, a lot of them, yeah. But I do, yeah. It gives you some anxiety, but the thing is, it's not the NASDAQ. So, you know, if the worst comes to the worst, you know what is your risk before you enter. So if you say, right, I can afford to risk 300 rand and it stops you out, well, I'm annoyed, but actually you can live to another day. Once it goes the right way, if of course it does, you start reducing that stop loss. It goes from 300, 200 to 100 to 0. And then once it's better than entry, you know whatever happens, you make a buck or 2 out of it. That's the important part. So if you're chicken, that's fine. If you like it, you can. Make sure your risk reward is correct. Hang on a minute, look at that. I'm not happy. 126, beg your pardon. I don't want to move the stop any closer, so move this down. Make it slightly better risk reward. There we are. But if it doesn't reach there and it gets there, how far are we talking here? Still 58 pips. You either take it there or modify a stop and get stopped out. 30, 40 pips profit. You get the idea. I have to say, in all honesty, I do quite like it. I think the 3.9 is going to hold. And as I say, there's 1 or 2 things coming out this week, and I think almost priced in expectation 0.75% increase in interest rates in the US, which will confirm a little bit more strength in the US dollar, which will probably have a little bit of a negative effect on the indices. Okay, so that being as it may, who would like to do this one? Zivan, that's good. Anybody else? Okay, Mike, good stuff. Give me a moment to write this down. Thanks, Gerard. We'll call it 3890. 3970 and 3742. Okay, it might be a little bit quiet this week, guys. When I say quiet, finished trading, which means I might be wrong, of course, but my opinion is you're not going to see a lot of fireworks. It's quite hectic on the economic calendar. We got the ADP coming up on Wednesday. You got the non-farm payrolls, the jobs report coming on Friday. You got the US rate decision coming up on Wednesday evening. Some Euro stuff coming out, some CPIs coming out as well. So it's just make sure you got. I'll actually copy and paste for you to make sure you've all got it. It's very important that you do keep an eye on that. So there's a few stuff coming out. So I'm not expecting an enormous amount of fireworks this week. A lot of people will be sort of it's in trading, yeah, basically. What can I say? Okay, I'll just put the DXY up for you guys so we're on the same page because I knew one or two guys are here. Marius, I think it's just first time join. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter if you've come before. Just make sure you got these particular indicators on. They're very important. And I put the yields on the 10-year note up. Very important. So I'll do it each session. Some guys might have missed it or not sure or whatever. I'll put it up for you. Okay, so you can always filter that economic calendar to your choice. I filtered it, so I'm just doing the one I filtered. And you can go on to the full week on it, and you'll see what's coming up. So it's quite a bit. Just bear that in mind. So as I said, I expect it's going to be fairly thin trading. So if you like that, we'll see how it goes and we'll come back to it. But don't expect any fireworks. I want to mention as well, guys, a lot of guys ask me, how long will you be? It will be today or tomorrow. As I said before, that's your first time here, Mars. Good stuff. Okay, how long you're in the trade, nobody knows. It depends on the market. Once you're in the trade, it's up to the market. And it's no good saying should do this or shouldn't do that or shouldn't, whatever. The market will do what the market does. You could be in this trade till later on today, or it could be till tomorrow or a couple of days. Nobody knows. All the things, do what you can control. Position size calculator, you got to have it. If you haven't, go to the live chat, go to the technical support and have it downloaded onto your laptop. This does not apply to shares. Sorry to go on about it because I know experienced guys started hearing it. It does not. Shares open 3:30, and you need the Excel risk calculator on your when you log into your learning management system. If you bought the course, again, the stock market college course. Remember, I'm not with Stock Market College. I'm with Quick Trade. Okay, so I'm just mentioning that to assist you. Okay, so right. You should have made some money on the NZD USD. It seemed to go all right before it jumped up. So you should have modified. I don't know. We'll go back and look at a few trades we did last week. We got in last week on the 27th, which I think was a Thursday. I can't remember that. What was it? Just give me a moment. Was that a Thursday, 27th? Just look at my thingamajig here. 27th was a Thursday, yeah. At 58.40. It did a few jumping around. This is what today is, Monday, Friday, Thursday. Came off, jumped up. So you should have made a profit on it. You should have modified the stock. You should have been kicked out. Not maybe not a great profit, but you should have modified and do okay. So what should you not? No, that's fine. Okay, not a problem. Okay, that's the main thing. Okay, so yeah, it should have been stopped out in a profit. It did okay. Modified. We'll go through a couple of others. The US dollar, Japanese yen did fantastically well. And you should again been stopped out in a profit. We got in originally last week on the 27th, a 145.68, and it went up to about 140. Where did it go up to? Went to that was today 140. Anyway, whatever. You modified your stock. You should have made a nice profit there. If you're still in, great, fine. If you're not in, well, you made some money. Okay, that was a winning trade, and so was the NZD USD. We'll go to AUD USD. We got in originally on Thursday 64.72, just to go over this. 64.72. Well, that's still in the profit. If you're stopped out again with the bouncing around in a profit, that's fine. Nobody should have made a loss in that trade. If you did, it's not my fault. Sorry, guys, it's your fault if you didn't modify. But that being as it may, if you didn't get stopped out, you're still in, you're in profit. Okay. You should have it, Cheryl, not so much time, you should have it on your phone and have it handy. So, you know, you go to loo, cup of tea, take a break or whatever you do if you're working, just quickly checking it, stare it down and quickly checking it. Okay, I'll look at that in a moment, Vio. So just bear in mind, it does not take 2 seconds, every half an hour or something like that, just quick checking it. And if you need to modify, don't get it too close, just tap, 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 job done. Okay. There's no excuse if you've been to the trading a few times to take a loss on a winning trade. Okay. You will move, you'll miss out, but still. Good question. Good question. Actually, yeah, not a bad question, actually. Yeah, to be honest, you haven't thought of that. Good point. Too busy about what we did last week. Yeah, very good question. Let me think. Because I do like it. My instant reaction when you mentioned that was, hang on, look at it from new open eyes. I do like it. I mentioned the dollar strength, etc. Yeah, I do see a bit of downside there. Let's get this guy in. Want to stop up there? Is it worthwhile? A bit of noise here. A bit nervous. I'll tell you why, Jethro and company, I'm looking at the previous candles. We're not getting a lot of follow through. I'm a bit hesitant on it. I see the vision, as they say, for the downside, but the lack of follow through worries me. Just look at this. Look at this here. Look at this here. So, you know, if you don't get the follow through, 28 pips ain't going to cap the risk going to take with over 100 pips stop loss. Yeah, I think if you're in, great. If you're not in, I'm personally hesitant. I'm not saying no, I'm hesitant. Pretty sure I'm not going in. Okay, but yeah, we'll go with Zeph here. We'll look at a couple of trades we both disagreed on, and sometimes I'm wrong and you're right. That's why it's invaluable having you here, Zeph, to say, no, I see a long, I see a short, to get people to understand there's no right or wrong until after the event. Okay. And yeah, and I'm personally missing out. Hey, Zeph, I've missed out a couple of weeks or so ago when you wanted to do, I think it was this same particular instrument, and I chickened out and you did very, very well out of it. I'm saying that I'm going to clap, clap on this one. I'm going to join Cheryl on the clap, clap chicken thing, yeah. Okay, but it's not a bad idea. Having said that, what do you reckon? Okay, I'll come back and review because we've got once this is done, because there's a few questions you made there, quite valuable for everyone. You're already in, fine. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll do the pound in a minute. I could friend the pound. Right, okay, we're going to come to, right, before we go into on the dollar rand, I have to mention it's called an exotic. I want everyone to understand you get the majors and you get the crosses and you get the exotics. The majors is US dollar against the Swiss franc, the pound, the euro, and the Japanese yen. The crosses include the Canadian, the Aussie, and the New Zealand dollar. Right, all of them are 7 altogether are all highly liquid. Then you get the exotics. That's the pound, dollar, pound, ZAR, dollar, ZAR, Mexican peso, just off the top of my head or whatever. Now, what I mean by that? It's not always just the volatility. It's just often thinly traded and not as popular. So as a result, you get wider spreads. That means wider costs. Now, when you're doing the ZAR, it's a floating spread. If you go to your click on, you know, like I said before, you click on the instrument, right click, and then go to specification. It'll say a floating spread somewhere online. Really, where's the spread? Should say somewhere there. Where did it say now? Floating spread. Spread, yeah. Well, it actually tells you. Wow. So I'm with this for a while. Good point. Normative floating spread. That's telling you it's 19 pips spread. Not floating, they're telling you. That's pretty good, actually. Now, not pretty good, they're telling you. Not pretty good, the spread. The spread is hectic. So you've got to make 19 pips to break even. But if, or let's say you make a 10 pip loss, that's 29 pips loss. You make 10 pips profit, it's a 9 pip loss. So that is telling you it's 19 pips. The 0 zeros, because these last two figures here. Okay, don't worry about that. Worry about these two here. So it's 19 pip spread. So bear that in mind. If you trade the ZAR, you're doing very well out of it, you're used to it, you're prepared to pay the cost of it, that's fine. But a lot of people are not aware of the extra costs on it. And if they're not used to it, rather find something else to trade. There's better fish to fry. Okay, so do I see a bit of upside on the rand? No, I'm seeing a bit of downside, to be honest, which means I would be buying this, because remember, the base currency is the dollar, not the rand. So if you're positive on the rand, you'd be selling it. If you're negative on the rand, you'd be buying it, because you're not buying the rand, you're buying the US dollar against the rand. I'm expecting 18 to hold. I expect a bit more weakening of the rand going forward. But that being as it may, it's right up against a bit of resistance there. It might pull back a bit. A lot of unknowns. In fact, for me, too many unknowns at this sort of stage to make me want to spend 19 pips to find out, if you get my point. Okay, hope that answers your question for everybody there. Okay, if not, we can go into more. We can get more depth. Okay, right. What now? The 1 hour 15 minutes. It's not so much a time frame for trading. Well, it is, but the point is, you have a strategy which you use a specific time frame. Now, you get the big boys out there, or what we call proprietary traders, who work for the company or the institution themselves. They've got virtually no cost because they work for the institution. They can do quicker trades because once the 1 pip up, that's a profit. They haven't got cost to worry about. As a retail trader, you got the cost to worry about. So if you do a strategy, I do mine on a daily. That's just my choice. I have no problem if you do it on a 4-hourly. Either will do. But an hour, it's too short term to try and predict the price movements with the costs involved. So why do I look at it? Just for confirmation and to see movement. Okay. So I would say I look at mine on a daily. I have a look at the situation and I suggest whether you buy or sell like the S&P 500. Then the next question, how long are you going to be in it? No idea. Absolutely no idea. Okay, could be in for a week, a couple of days, even a couple of hours, depending on market volatility. Hope that answers your question for you, Kazi, if I pronounce that properly. So strongly suggest you look at the 1 hour to see some momentum. See, I haven't looked at this very often. It's not come up yet. There we are. You can look at the 1 hour as a confirmation. So if you want to, let's say, short this, you want to maybe a 1 hour candle in the red to convince you to go in on it. But don't use a strategy on anything less than 4 hours, is my strong suggestion. Hope that answers your question. Okay. Some of the other guys here, we'll the pound dollar in a minute. That's true, Cheryl. Morning, Colin. Too much, thank you very much. Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, I'll go by the pound. So, sorry, just to finalize on that, unless you're doing it all the time, you know what you're doing. You've been trading this for a while. I'm happy with that. If you're new to it, you didn't know about the costs involved, rather steer clear. There's nothing wrong with spending more money on costs if it's really doing well for you. But if you weren't aware of that, you're going to be highly fed up of making 19 pips. It's gonna not please you. Okay, right. So the obvious there. I hope it's obvious. Okay. Remember, some that I make mistakes was obvious to me, is when I'm doing it every study day. It's like changing gear. In the beginning, it's not obvious, so I've just got to bear that in mind. Right. Okay. Pound dollar. Now, we talked about this morning, this one in the trading strategy room. We have an upper state every morning between the guys there, and some guys see a buy on this one. Technically speaking, it's in the neutral zone. Remember, it's above the 50 and below the 200. So it's in a neutral zone. The buy zone there, neutral here, sell here. I've gone on that before. all have the 50 and the 200, please do that immediately. Go, if you haven't got it, put the 50-day simple moving average, the 200-day simple moving average. I've got brown and dark blue. That's my choice. If you like it, go with that. And make sure you save. I said before, don't take long to say. Go to templates and then save the template. Okay. The 10-day moving average is my choice. The 50 and 200 is imperative. It's used internationally and therefore becomes self-fulfilling, and it'll take out a lot of all the other stuff you're confusing you. That is a great easy filter and a good area of support resistance. And support resistance is very important because it's like having a floor and a ceiling. It's the most strongest and the simplest to understand of all indicators on a technical basis. Okay, so yeah, this one here, I just personally think it's gone to indecision here. We've got the new prime minister coming in now. I think the king said okay. I'm not sure he's quite taken over yet. I think he might be coming up Friday, without touch actually. But anyway, virtually he's the prime minister, and he's an investment guy, a banker, and whether you like the guy or not, it's absolutely squat to do it, in my opinion. It's all about the money. It always is, always will be. And he knows a bit about money, so it's nice to have him at the helm. Okay, the problem I do have is the movement since September, which was about a month ago, it's been over 2,000 pips. Over 2,000, sorry about that. 1,200 pips. We get 2,000. This is over 1,270 odd pips it's been in the last month. I think it's a bit overcooked. I think it's going to be some profit taking, and at the moment the dollar is doing okay. So for it to get another movement up, I think it's going to take another extreme economic fundamental. Otherwise, I actually see a bit of sideways to a bit of downside on that for those reasons. Morning, y'all. Hi, Kathy. Okay, we'll look at the FTSE in a minute. Remember, FTSE, if Petro, if you're going to be negative on the S&P, you'd be negative on the FTSE. Remember, the world follows those American indices. We all follow Americans, we all like it or not, we do. Okay, so for me personally, I haven't got enough confirmation to go in as yet, but I do see some downside here. Dollar strengthening is overcooked. I think it's going to take, like I say, a fundamental of strength to push it further up. I think you should be on the downside if you're going to go into this particular trade now. I'm not sure I'll be jumping in to sell it now. Not enough confirmation, but I'm looking might possibly go pullback. If it does, how far is it down the 50-day moving average? Could get maybe another 200 pip move down. Yeah. Okay, any comments on that? What do you think, guys? What I've just said on the pound dollar. I'm too concerned about it. I want to strengthen. I'm fairly bullish on the dollar. I just think it's going to be a little bit iffy this week. But yeah. Look at gold a moment. Yeah. I'll try that down. Gold and NZD USD. Want to look at again, but I'll try it down. An order, you mean a limit order. Don't forget, there's a difference in a pending order and a market order. Some guys wondering why they're not making any money. They're in a pending order, they're not in the market. Okay, so yeah, I would sit the sidelines, but I think I might be on the side here. Okay, overcooked. Somebody's pushing it a lot. Yeah, it's just tell you what, the overall economy is not that bad. All the moans and groans they have over there, the man in the street finally paying more for the price of bread or butter or whatever. It's debt GDP ratio is not bad. In fact, their debt is slightly below GDP. Can't say the same for a lot of European nations. Certainly can't say that America or Japan. So it's not as bad shape as the negative views like to make out. I just think that few unknowns for me to be confident of jumping in there. You never get 100%, but I like to try and get a 65 to 70% probability. At the moment, I've got a 55 to 60% probability of downside. Not enough, good enough for me to put serious tom on it. Yeah. Basically, yes, Joe. That's exactly what I think. Okay, right. Before we get to gold, I think Etienne mentioned about the NZDs. Let's come up. Okay, good luck. NZD, I think you mentioned against. We looked at it now. I do see downside. Do I want to be chasing it here? Ooh, what's the 4 hour say? Yeah, not too bad. The 4 hour, better than the daily. See, not a lot of follow through. That's only 20 pips. Got to take it down here. When was it last year? 26th. That's Thursday. Wednesday, I think. Yeah, yes, Wednesday. It's a long time when you're trading forex. 1, 2, 3 trading days so far to get down there, and this seems to be a bit of a halt on that one there. 30 pips. I'm going to stay on the side of this one. I think we're going to have a bit of a boring session here. I'm sorry, guys. I can feel the indecision out there for the big boys. I can feel it. They're not sure themselves, and believe me, they've got the best PhDs, the best equipment, the best computer systems, the best algorithms, the best. If they're not bloody sure, who am I to say? I think you're sticking a neck out for the moment to enter short on this one, but I wouldn't be buying it. Yeah. I think losing money is probably the worst, but the second worst is definitely boring. The best, you've seen my body language change big time. Like we did last week, about 10 trades, all of them are winners. Then you can't hold me down, you know. I dread this. Remember this morning, I dread the trading when I think, God, the paint is going to dry. You'll come in on here expectantly, especially you guys. Can't wait, keen as mustard to get going, and then it's rained off like the cricket. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. And then it suddenly rained off. You bought your seat, you sacrificed, you've driven there, you got there, and then damn things rained off. Feels a bit like that at the moment. Anyway, so we'll go to gold. Gold, again, I see my weekly snippet, short the rally, but it's too low for me to short at the moment. You won't get a risk reward. I want the risk at least about 1670. So you need a break of 1600 to make it worth your while. Is that going to occur? It could do, but it's not worth the risk reward. Gold, we had a trade out last week. We got in at 1666, got a TP at 1628. We modified the stop loss. Some guys were kicked, those who took it, I don't know who took it, but those who took it might have been kicked out with a modified stop loss. In other words, in a profit. You've either been kicked out in the profit, you're still in there. To enter now, I wouldn't be doing that. No. It might get a bounce, but look, it didn't get much follow through on the bounce. Look at this. We're on a 4 hour chart. Look at this bounce. $5. That's not going to get a risk reward of $5. It's not worth your while. Sorry guys, the paint's drying and drying and drying. Umpires inspected the pitch and it's still wet, and there's lots of more rain coming. I'm not sure we can get much cricket today, to use the mixing multiple metaphors. Okay. We can certainly look at the NAS, but I'm just going to FTSE quickly. Somebody asked about that. Where is it? EFG, here we are. Yeah, again, I do see downside. 4 hours to the daily. I do see downside. Clearly, it's the down momentum. It's below the two moving averages. I do see downside, but look at this. Look at that wick there. Look at that indecision there. It's not getting follow through. You take that trade and you want to look at 48 pips. Where are you going to put your stop? Up here, 48 pips. It's not worth it. Okay. Sorry to sound like a stat record, but sorry, guys, I wouldn't. What was the other one you mentioned? So you mentioned one there. I've forgotten it now. GBP CAD, I forgot that one. GBP CAD and GBP CHF. Good old friend, good old pound. I see some downside there, to be honest. So the pound's overcooked. It might go there, but I don't think so. Sellers are coming in today, 10 hours old, came in on Friday, came in on Thursday, came in on Wednesday. It's indecision, accumulation, call it whatever you like. either a decision, because that's basically what it is, indecision. And if I had to go in this one, I'd be going short. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you hit your money, but no, I see, and they've got the same. I'm probably the same for you. Yeah, I think you're going to have it sideways, maybe never pull back. I don't see a trade, or as you put it, wait for confirmation. Oh, the Nasdaq. I'm using something the NAS. Right, I see downside the NAS. Don't forget, I've mentioned, guys, you've got to be able to afford to do this. Please don't do the NAS. If you want to do an index, go to the S&P. If you've got an account below about 4 or 5, preferably $5,000. Okay. Yeah, see downside. I think Hello was there. He asked me about it this morning on the WhatsApp, and he said, "Do you see downside?" And I, to the point, said, "Yes, I do." Don't want to add in much more verbiage. Simple that I do, and it's already come off already today. Nearly 100 pips. So I do see downside there. To chase it here, we need to stop up here. Yeah, you need about a 265 pip stop. So you're looking there about 450 or something per micro with the current exchange rate of the rand dollar. So you need at least $6-7 grand in your account. Okay. Well, that's when you need patience. That's when boredom is your biggest enemy. I'm sorry, further what Jethro said there. Yeah. And gas, bored. Seems we're recovering a little bit. Hey, it's actually recovering in gas. Hey, I think there's a bit of a profit there from our trade. That was the only one was in the negative last week. We had about 10 of them. But that seems to be at the moment anyway. At least a bit better than breaking even. Leave it alone for a moment. Yes, it does. I've got it on the other screen. It does, yeah. The DXY, that is. Yeah. Euro dollar. So yeah, I'd see it, but you've got to, you're talking about over 400 rand per micro. If you want to look at it, I'll put it up, but just bear that in mind. The risk reward, that is. Come back to it if you want. And gas, yeah, it's coming right. We had it, what price did we had it at last week? Very slow, 6.15. So actually slightly in profit, but it looks like accumulation might have a pullback. It's going to sit there for a while. I thought we already had done. I'll write down, I'll check afterwards, Jethro. I thought I had done. If you received an update, a morning update on the WhatsApp, you're on it. I haven't posted signals, I haven't got one, that's why. Okay, Eurozar. You want to do Eurozar? Like I mentioned, if you want to do Eurozar, I think it's even more costs involved. So I'm going to jump to that quickly. Eurozar. Look it up here. I think I have to be honest, I don't trade it. Put it on for you. Right click, specifications, where the cost. Also, same spread as the other one. So it's 19 pips. If you want to do it, we'll have a look at it, but leave it alone. It might come off a bit. I'm in gas now, sorry. It might come off a bit, but I'm not that keen. I'll be buying the rand, to be honest. So if it comes off a bit, then you're buying the rand. Indecision already today. I'll leave it alone. The costs are too high to make it worth your while to take the kind of risks involved. Okay. Euro GBP. I might have missed one. Sorry, I'll go to Euro GBP. If anyone wants to do it, tell me. But I'll leave it alone, my opinion. Okay, that's just my opinion. When you were short it, well, it's right in resistance. I can see immediately. Let's have a look. It's in the neutral zone, which is not helping your cause, I'm afraid, of mine. Might get a bounce from here. What the 4 are doing, accumulating. Sorry, guys, this is really boring. This, but I'll be leaving you alone. All right, that's my opinion. There are times just put your money in your pocket, read a book. This is one of them. Okay. Somebody else came up with something else. Euro USD. Let's have a look at that. I more favour a short on this one than the Euro GBP, to be honest. Yeah, it's quite stiff here. Yeah, exactly. It's the costs are high. Leave it alone. Okay, it's the Eurozone view. Right. I see more potential downside here, but again, always a good old Eurasia word, but 38 pips, you've got a bit of noise there. The dollar is rising. I agree at the downside, but let's have a look where you're going to put your stop loss. I would like to have a stop up there, to be honest. That's 1800. So we're going to look at least about 2.62626 to make it worth your while. You're looking around about this sort of level as a TP. Could well go there, but is it going to? It's going to be pretty sideways. You've got a lot of stuff coming out, which not just the dollar zone, the Eurozone as well. No. If you're already in, you should have been stopped out of a profit. I wouldn't be chasing it now. There's too many obstacles in the way. Make sense? Anyone disagree? That's what I'm saying. It's a forum. If you disagree, I'll learn as well. Something out. That's my feeling, and I might be missing out. Anyone see a trade here? Please, have a look and say. Doesn't matter if you're starting or not. You might see something I've been doing for a million years and I missed it. Something with 1 minute. I might spot something. So, rule democratically here. But yeah, dealing no. Well, I always say, would I put my money in? I'm advising you, Jethro, Petro, Gerard, it's Sip and Dealers and Forum Kim, 4 or 5 guys sitting there, the latest on there. And the question is, would I put my money on shorting it at the moment? No. Would I put my money on buying it? No. I would keep the money in my account at this stage on that one. If you like it, great. I wouldn't be buying it, but if I had to, maybe I'd rather short it. So personally, I'm not going to do either. Okay, good chance we miss out, but there's too many obstacles on the road. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Can we just quickly S&P now on the subject? We do have a trade on there. Maybe we get some out. Aha! We got in at 3,890. We've got a couple of pips profit. All is boredom. I needed something to cheer me up. And 5 pips might not be a lot, but at least it's going in the right direction. So the guys that took this one, 5 pips is squat, but I mean, at least it's in the right direction. Okay. All right. Just sort of Zeph there, actually. I'd rather put money on my pocket right now. Yeah. Take the money out, fold it up, and put it back in your pocket. Somebody once said. Right. We had a trade, just sort of Zeph there, where it was a CHFJPY. For a bit of fun, well, not fun, it's not a fun trade, it was a serious trade. I was in for the sell. No, sorry, I was in for the buy. And Zeph and company in for the 148.05 was the entry figure of the buy. So let's have a look at this one quickly. Looks like, well, there we are. We're both nothing happening. Right, 148.05. And that's exactly what it is. We entered that one on Friday. So was it Thursday or was it? What's it? I think maybe Thursday, Friday. I think actually Thursday. But anyway, yeah. So there you are. It's so nobody's winning or losing on this one. So you're short or long. The only winner is I just say it is the broker because I got a couple of bucks out of it. from the spread. But yeah, going nowhere. 148. I'm long and Zeph short. We can't throw and take the mickey out of either side. Not much happening either side on that one. So we'll have another look to see who can be teased the most coming on. Don't forget, Zeph, if it does come off, you can verbally tease me, because I'll definitely verbally tease you if it goes my way. Okay. Aren't you backwards? No, I'm long on this one. No, Zeph was the short after all. I'm still with the long, actually, so it's not much happening. If you haven't joined it along, we can do it. I'm happy for the long on it. Those will be short, it's up to you. But it's not much been happening, as you can see, but I do see upside. I think the Japanese yen is still weak. Remember, I mentioned this before, they can't increase interest rates, their debt is too high. So they've got to take a dovish stance, whether they like it or not. So they've got to export their way out. And odd Japanese bank intervention might to try and strengthen a little bit, might be a bit of a hiccup. We can't tell them when they can do that. We don't know. But I wouldn't be buying it now. I wouldn't be, I'm sorry, I'm thinking US dollar yen now. But if I did, I would see a bit of upside. I think the 148 is going to hold, and you might drivel along a bit today, tomorrow, whatever. But I'm happy with the long on it personally. Okay, so if anyone wants to do it, say so. AUD-NZD was mentioned for another strategy. My problem with AUD-NZD is the pretty similar economies. Okay, do you see a breakthrough to the downside, or you see a bounce from here? I just don't feel comfortable either way on it. I can't really give you any. To be honest, I can't give you any assistance on that one. I don't trade it very often because of the similarities. I've seen the weeks gone by that the NZ is a stronger one, and weeks go by the AUD is a stronger one. Do you think get a bounce from here? I think there's a bit of a chance to get a bounce from here. If I had to do it, probably might get a bounce from here, but I'm not sure I'd like to do it. But if you did want to go for a long, you need the stop down here somewhere, which is not too wide. You can put it down a bit wider than that. Maybe a 50 pip stop for a bounce. Let's look at the 4 hour. See, a lot of indecision there. Look at the 4 hour. Indecision. Let's look at the 1 hour. I don't see a trade there. Critical pivot point. I like it. So yeah, AUD-NZD, I'm not going for it. Some guys did say, funny enough, in the strategy room this morning, a short there. But if I'm going to short, I'd like to see a confirmed break below on the daily, the 200-day moving average. If it breaks through there, maybe you got a point stop up here and take it down. The weekly down to here, maybe. How far is that? Yeah, you get a risk reward if it breaks to 200. I wouldn't do it now. Okay, AUD-JPY, we had that as a trading idea at 94.35 last week. I think it's a chance for a bounce, yeah. But I see a bounce happening there today. I agree, Zeph. Are you going to go and buy it? That's the question. I see a bounce, but I'm not going to buy it. Anyone want to buy the AUD-NZD for a bounce? I'll put that down. If you want to put it on, that's up to you guys. I'm just saying, for the record, I'm putting my position forward. I'm not keen. There you are then, Zeph. Anybody keen, or should we move on? I'll come back to you on. Waiting, okay. Not keen. Okay, good enough. Right, AUD-JPY done in last week at 94.35. AUD-JPY. Right, that's clearly in a profit. You might have already modified your stop loss. If you haven't, I suggest you do it. It's 50, a scratch short of 50 pips in profit, about 45 pips in profit. Thanks, Simbi. So it's in profit. Clearly, you don't want to lose on a winning trade. I strongly suggest if you're in this and you haven't modified, I don't know what price you guys got into. I can use the figures we did in the trading room, which I've got written down is 94.35. Strongly suggest you put your stop in at 94.40. You've covered your costs. You make a buck out if you get stopped out. But one thing, you will not lose a cent. Let's see if you can get some more out of it. It's been hovering around. Look at it's, remember, it's only 10 hours old today. It's popped up, popped down again, get more information on the 4 hour. Coming off, but some buyers are coming as it comes down with the 1 hour. Yeah, it seems to be holding there, so might get some more upside. It needs to try and hold above 95 to really get going. But that being as it may, if you're in, if you take profit, I wouldn't jump in now. If you're already in profit, hold on, modify like I mentioned. If you're not in, don't chase it now. Leave it alone if you're not in. If you are in, you should be in profit. Make sure you don't lose. I think it's maybe you can put your stop loss up a little bit more to make a couple of bucks, but I think preference now is just not to lose on that trade. It's a winning trade. Okay. Oh, AUD-CHF. So we looked at just now. Again, I think we had something on that last week. AUD-CHF. Yes, we did. We had it last week at 67.80 as a sell. 63.80, 67.80. So I'm bloody writing. Doctor's writing out the brains, eh? Clearer. Yeah, 63.80 got to sell. Clearly, it's 64 at the moment. Where we stopped out in a profit on Friday, 63.70. Didn't get close enough. No, it should still be in that one as a sell. Right. Now, the good news, we might have a trader there. Thank you. Those who didn't get in might have done themselves by sheer unadulterated like a bit of a favor, because I think you'll be able to short a better price. So if you're in, hold on. If you're not in, I do see some downside here. You got to go, Jethro. Okay. I'll just check to see if you're on the group or not after. I've got it written down. Okay. If you're on, I'll obviously put you on. If you're already on there, well, you're on. Okay. Right. So yeah, I do see it short here. Where can we put the stop? Is it going to be too close? Too far away? Yeah, there. That's perfect. Yeah, I like it. Okay, what's that? 64.80 or 64.85. There we are. So if you're not in, obviously you are in. Don't double up, guys. And the TP, what was the TP? Should we use the same as before? 63.40. That's what we had before. We'll use the same one. Okay. 64. Got the wrong bloody thing on there. Sorry, that's my mistake. Sorry. 0.6485. So used to doing with the bloody yen. I forgot. 0.63. What was it again? AUD-CHF. 62.25. Use the other one. 62.25. Same ones we had before. That's better. Yeah. In fact, put the TP up a little bit on that. Just entry now. There we go. Okay, so there you are. Good risk reward. 150 odd bucks a micro. The stop is nicely out of the way. Just going to minimize that quickly. It's above the 50. It's above these. The last time it was theirs about a month ago, 21st September. I think that's a good probability trade there. If you're not in, I like it. If you want to, show if you want to. But a lot of that interest rate is expected, which means it's discounted in the market. Remember, markets react like human beings do to the unexpected. It's not going to be front page news if something happens that's expected. Certainly when the unexpected comes in. Philip, check. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put my WhatsApp number down because you should have, but just WhatsApp me, Philip, and don't forget the full names and real account number. save me a lot of time chasing to find, see, blah, blah, blah. 06152934331. Remember, I don't mind chatting to people. It gets hell of a busy. So it's rather quicker just to the WhatsApp. Remember, I've got my computer as well. It's in front of me, so I can see the chimes and I can look at it. Okay, so yeah, if you're not on or whatever, just put your full names and a real account number, and I'll stick you on the group, because I will post trades on there, plus the daily morning update. So if you've got a morning update on that, that means you're on. Okay, so anybody want to join this? Not the guys who are already on board. Any new guys want to join this trade? I do like it. I like it, Cassie. Anybody else like it? Good, good. Okay, great. I'll put that down. Good stuff. AUD CHF sell, and it's 0.64. 0.6. What it is now. 6485, 0.6228. Don't worry about the last digit. That's a point. I'm not worried about that. Okay. Hi, Max. Okay, so that's the revised one. Put down revised because we're already in it for some guys. Okay, good stuff. Gold, leave it alone. Oh, M good. Sorry, there's some gold there. Okay, you want to do it? There we go. Hi, Max. Yeah, but I need a bit more than hi. And they can help you with that. Just print it out. Okay. Okay, so Philip, you can just send me stuff, and I'll look at it after the segment. Okay, right. And to revisit, we'll go through a couple we went through last week. US dollar, Japanese yen, we discussed. CAD JPY 107.28. You all should have modified your stop loss. You might have been stopped out in a profit. Nobody should have lost in that trade. If you did, well, there's something wrong somewhere. But yeah, it's up over 100 pips. If you're still in, hold on, modify your stop loss. 30 pips below entry, ride a bit further or take your profit, whatever. But did well, made money on it. Dollar yen made money, AUD CAD. We've mentioned again, you know, where we 68, 87, 87. AUD CAD, I think might have been stopped out the profit. But yeah, well, doesn't matter, it's nice in profit. So that was a winner. AUD JPY, we've mentioned as a winner. AUD USD, we got original 64.72. Yeah, that's a profit. I've chickened to join it now. Looks like it might have been the wrong decision, it's going down. But anyway, I still will join it now. That's the profit, modified stop loss, can't lose. So I had a good week last week. That's S&P we mentioned. Gold, obviously the profit don't chase. Even NGAS is looking a little bit better. So yeah, so all of them revisited, all of them winners, so fantastic. Okay, just puts all in a good mood. Yeah, no, there's accumulation. AUD CHF. It's a bit of accumulation now, a bit of decision, but that's just overall on the market. I'm just saying it's it's below these two, it's in the sell zone. AUD is okay, but the Swiss franc is slightly stronger, so I'd rather be buying that one and selling the other one. It's a bit quiet, I get that, but I think it's going to be a result of the downside, and it's going to take an extreme fundamental to take out these guys here. See where the crosshair is? And our stop is above them. So what is going to push the Aussie dollar to take out that? Well, I'll tell you what could happen. They're expecting, I forgot what it is, next interest rate so much. I think it's tomorrow. If it's a lot higher interest rate increase than expected, I doubt that's going to happen. I've mentioned this before, guys. They don't want to spook the market. If they raise the interest rates more than expected, it means there's a problem out there because they don't want to do it unless they're really forced. And I don't think the AUD is forced to do it. So I don't think you're going to much hit up there. I think as you're quite right, look at the indecision there. It's going to hover around a bit, but the sellers are coming in. Look at the wick. The sellers are coming in. The sellers are coming in. The sellers are coming in. You might hover around. You might be in there for 2-3 days, but I see the overall downside. Okay. Just don't expect fireworks, but I see the downside for that reason. That is correct. That's why you must have this and have this. So 50 as simple, 200 simple, and like I said before, go and save the template. Very, very important. The other stuff, individual choice. Very important. Okay. The fundamentals I help you over a period of time. The technicals, keep it simple. It's about always what the buyers and sellers are doing. There's more buyers and sellers, clearly you buy, more sellers than buyers. Or there's not, and nobody's in particular control of the time before that indecision, accumulation, whatever you like to call it. It's because no one's really in charge at that point. Okay, well, it's quite clear. That is below these two, so it clears the sell, neutral, buy zone there. In the sell zone, you want to sell the rally. Here, buy or sell, maybe buy here, set it there, depending, or buy, let's say it's here, where the cross areas, and it's coming down, it's a red candle. Don't only buy it here, you want to buy the bounce, buying the retracement. Here, either way, here, you sell the rally, buy the retracement. Unless it's there and it's bouncing, then you've got a perfect, not perfect, got a great trade. Okay. I've said this before many times. This is not neuroscience. A lot of people think it's complicated, so they complicate in their minds. Get the noise out. Don't clutter it at your charts up with too much information. Again, it's paralysis by analysis. If you need an indicator on, put it on. Once you used it, get rid of it. Don't leave balls of indicators. You don't know where you're coming and going. You should. I'll give you an example. I've done this before. Let's look at one. We haven't looked at one today, so try and find one. We haven't looked at. Have we looked at this one? I'm not sure we have or not. There, we'll do this. You want to look at that, I would say immediately it's telling me accumulation in the buy zone. I'll look to buy it and sell it. Then I look back and look at the previous candle, indecision. Euro is not the strongest on the planet. We've got stuff coming out. The euro, I think it's tomorrow or the next day. And they're pretty evenly matched, those two. I would stay away. That will come. I've taken a long time more to talk about it than I would. So I look at that in the morning, bang, on to the next one. You need to see it like a headline. Takes a bit of practice, but you don't want to spend half an hour going through it, and then there's nothing there. Then you go to another one, and the ship has sailed. You're too busy on one. It's not worth spending your time on. If that makes sense. Takes a bit of practice, but after a while, it's like changing gear. Looks complicated when you first start driving around a while. You can have a chit chat in your mind. And sometimes you, by a habit, you've arrived at home and you didn't even remember changing gear because your mind's on something else. It becomes automatic. Okay. Right, hope that explains any questions. Okay. Get your chart set up where you're comfortable, where with a bit of practice, if your daily strategy, keep the daily, look at your strategy, and then if it looks like a trade, you can look at a 4-hour, a weekly, an hour confirmation, a 15-minute, whatever it is, just to check out for the entry. But I use it. Okay. Sorry to repeat again. Remember, how long do you mean to say? Don't know. And give it a chance. You got your stop in. You're doing nicely just now. Then it goes up, and you're now seeing red. Now you're obviously a little bit worried about it. It's quite transparency is very much in trading here. Let's call the noise. The buyers and sellers are moving it all the time. Should take an overall view. Hope that's all clear. Okay. By the way, I have to say, Vio, try and copy what she's doing. She's interacting and she's asking, learning. Makes your life a lot easier. It makes my life a lot easier as well, because those questions, because sometimes the nerve to ask, could apply to a lot of people who are a bit shy to ask. So I'll just say, oh, by the way, And that's for everybody. It might answer a question you're a little bit nervous to ask. Clearly, I've mentioned before, guys who are trading, look at the trade that comes first. And we don't like the guys who are experienced in trading, but we want to answer those questions. It's very important. Because I get a lot on the live chat, and I cannot answer them in live chat. It's just not a medium you can do it. It's just, you need this. It's like a message or a voice message. You get more detail on the voice message. Sensible principle. Oh, by the way, yeah, never mind actually. I think you're asking about the vertical line. That's one there. If you haven't got this stuff up here, it's quite simple. Go to View, go to Toolbars, and tick all of them. Standard line studies, timeframes, tick all of them up there, and then you'll have that coming up there. So you just put a line chart on there. There's your vertical. There we are. Get rid of it now. Simple as that. So you haven't got this, you haven't got this. Just go to View. Quite simple. See how much easier on the Zoom to show. And just go there and make sure they're all ticked. I very rarely use the vertical. Some people do. I very rarely use it. My main concentration, guys, so I'm rambling on a bit, but I want to simplify it, is see what the buyers and sellers are doing. I look at my room at the moment, I look at the support and the ceiling, and I think the strength of this room means I want to buy the retracement, so I get as near the floor as possible to take it up to the ceiling. Often doesn't get to the ceiling, so when I'm stopped out, I want to be stopped out in the profit. Can't really get simpler than that. Where the complications come in is the variables the buyer themselves. There's so many out there. Literally millions of people are buying and selling all the time, and those can be, go figure. Hey, Zeph, we've done Cheryl, others. What the hell's that doing up there? But ask Roger, he knows. Well, Roger unfortunately doesn't know. I don't know what it's doing up there, or vice versa. Then again, a lot of emotional trading. Sometimes, especially retail traders, a large volume of retail traders can push something on an emotional level to a higher than, why is that happening? Some emotional people are buying in a sell zone or whatever. And because the amounts, accumulated amounts doing that, the accumulated volumes of people doing that, even a weak one might be pushed up, but for the wrong reasons. That happens. But that sort of makes a bit of sense. Okay. So at least we've got some time to actually learn some stuff here, because I say it's a bit boring, not many trades come on, but well done. Sorry, Shell, just see that now. Well done, got your TP, good stuff. Yeah, but we can try and get some value out of it in the meantime. Okay, as the S&P, let's have a quick check, anything happening there. Yeah, it's slightly profit. Now it's a bit quiet, no problem there. AUD CHF, tried that out, something happening there. 63.93. Yes, coming off. So anybody who joined that trade, you did Vuyokazi, try and get it properly pronounced, would be in a bit of a profit as we speak. So that's slightly, don't jump up too excited, you could pop up again. The noise is there, at least it's going okay. More of a scalping day, yeah. Good. View is fine. Good stuff. Okay. AUD USD. We looked at earlier on. I'm chasing it now. I do see the downside. The dollar strengthening. It's right in resistance. I'm not sure I'll be chasing it now. Oh, I do see downside. Yeah. Anyone want to chase it now? Talking about selling, not a buy. I'm with you on that, Cheryl. Too much noise to enter now. I like that in a nutshell, yeah. Sure, of course. Yeah, it's coming off nicely, yeah. Now, I think it was yourself asked this morning about the NASDAQ, that you took it or not or whatever. But I agree with you on the sell, and if you did go for it, you're quite a decent profit now. I think it's about 11,560 or something. So the NAS, yeah, My problem now to join it now is the stop. I want the stop out of the way. You're going to put the stop up here. You're talking about 270 pips. That's 27 US dollars. Multiply that by 18 per micro, per 0.01. And you see what I mean. It's about $400, 400 rand, sorry, per 0.01. So even the minimum position size, you need at least 5 or 6K in your account to tolerate that kind of risk. Otherwise, you're overexposing. And overexposure works for you, you think you're a hero, but unfortunately, next time you're a zero because it comes back and bites. Don't overexpose. So yeah, there you do USD. If you're already in, you can modify the stop, should be fine. So we got out last week, 64.72. So you're doing nicely, but I'm not sure I've done it now. Okay, Jackson, to answer your question or any questions on the NASDAQ? Anybody want to join a short now? Bearing in mind, we got 400 bucks a micro. I do see the downside, by the way. Yeah, I think it's going to get back to at least 11,000. Might break. Because obviously, Jackson, not what sort of money you got in your account, but if you've got a decent amount and you want to do it, we'll have a look. But we're not going to put it up if people don't want to do it. But remember, if you're going to do it, preferably 5 grand, absolute barest minimum. And remember your free margin. You might have 5 or 6K in your account, but you might have a few open trades. You don't want to go in and have too low free margin. Make sure you got decent free margin, whatever that's supposed to mean. It's a bit of an airy-fairy figure, decent, you know, not exact science. But if you have too little free margin, you could get margin calls. You must have free margin to allow for the ups and downs of the noise. Well, NASDAQ is that volatile, absolutely. Especially quite a few things coming out this week on the fundamental front will affect gold and the indices big time. I don't see these things to buy. Well, I'm not sure I agree on that, but whatever they say, they might be right, be wrong. I don't agree. But your entry point is possible there, preferably here, but it's possible. But again, your entry point's fine there. You take it down to 11,000, no problem with that, get a risk reward. But I will just make it clarify what I mean by this. To get an idea. See it in black and white, as they say. Where do I want to stop up here? Make it 11,750. And make it around 11,000. Risk reward about 150, just doable. Look at that. That's your problem. 550 are in a micro. 550. I normally advise guys 500 rand risk for 10 on 10 grand. Yeah. But a lot of FOMCs come at 8 o'clock on Wednesday, but a lot of that's discounted in. If it's not 0.75, then you'll see the NASDAQ and the dollar move. You'll still see it move on to confirmation. There's an overwhelming expectation, 0.75. And Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, doesn't like any responsible guy in that extremely important position, spook the market. So if it is outside that, there's some radical reasons why. Okay. And don't preempt the news that comes out, we don't know. Not just we don't know, often market reaction will be different to the expectation. So I'm just saying that overwhelmingly be surprised if it's not 0.75 increase. Then there'll be a chit chat. What's so likely for the next one? They might turn around and say, we might slow down the next increase. Then they'll point through what's going to happen next. Remember, we know what's the price is now. We know the history. So we're looking forward what the likelihood is. I think it's too late, Cheryl. Well, I think it's too volatile for most people with mental health, to be honest, on that one. Okay, I hope that answers your question, anyway, Jackson. If you want to come back to it, no problem. I think so, yeah. I think so. We're already in on the trading idea. I think some guys got kicked out. I think you got Pete. I think you said that you were kicked out in the profit. Good, that's fantastic. It's a natural thing. You made a good one. You want to go in again. It's exciting. It's boring to say wait, but I think you mentioned you can wait till Monday. Well, maybe more boring. I'm not going to chase it here. Chase it back down here somewhere. Okay, but I'm not chasing it here. Took probably long and shorts last week. Not sure about right now. No, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to. I'm definitely sure I'm not chasing it here. You're still in. That's great. Well, obviously you modified Zeph. I'm assuming you have anyway. So you can't lose in the trades. That's fine. See another 150 attack on this. If it goes above that, you might get Japanese government intervention, Japanese banking intervention, Bank of Japan, BOJ intervention too, because they don't want it above there, so probably would get a bit of intervention by buying the yen to push it down. So yeah, 150 is a likelihood, and they might get a bit of intervention. Okay. I wouldn't be selling. I wouldn't be buying. If you sell this, you're basically selling the dollar. You're buying the yen. I'm not too keen on that. Up here, good chance of it. Yeah, or maybe sell it there, but I wouldn't be selling it now. And I wouldn't be buying it because, like some of the risk reward, I'm talking about 270 pips. Want it down here? Make it 240 pips. So you got to look at about 360. You're not getting a risk reward to buy that. Unless you're a 4-hour trader, some of the 4-hour. What's this going to give you? Even that's 250. It's not even a 4-hour. And look, it's got to break through here. No, wait for a better price and buy it, not here. But remember, the government might intervene, the Bank of Japan might intervene, but overall, definitely the yen is one of the weaker currencies. The dollar is still one of the stronger ones. Don't forget that. So you're going short here, basically you're selling the US dollar, and especially it's now above 111 on the DXY, and you're buying the yen, which are not so cool. Rather miss out the short and buy the pullback. Okay, but that makes sense. All good? Oh yeah, by the way, euro is today. Just check now. Euro CPI, that's consumer price index, is wow, 10.2% forecast. That's hectic. It's due out at 12. Okay, so that's hectic. That's highly inflationary by euro standards. We'll see what that is. If it's above 10.2 or quite a bit above anyway, there'll be all sorts of talk whether I like it or not to take a more hawkish stance in the eurozone. Remember, her name is Lagarde. She's the president of the ECB. The expectation she might have to be more hawkish. So it's any weakness on the CPI and inflation on the CPI, expect a bit of dollar strength coming in. Well, you can do, but remember as well the costs involved. Look at the spread on the Nasdaq. But always remember the costs. Look at the spread on the Nasdaq. It's about 14 pips. So on a shorter time frame, let's go to an hour. Show me. Just a shorter time frame. Where's 14 pips? I suppose you couldn't move it there, but I mean, remember, you've got to make 14 pips to make money. So it's quite hectic. So it's come off a bit because it's hit the high and coming off a bit. But look at this. You're under an hour time frame here. All right, still 50. No, that's what's am I right? Yeah, it's 54 pips. Yeah, I suppose you could do, but don't forget you got 14 pips. There's a little more volatile even on the other than I expected. But you could if you want, but you've got to make 14. The problem is that is if you make 50 pips, it's cost you 14, so your profit is therefore 36. But if you lose 50 pips, your loss is 64. So if you win 50, it's 36 profit against 64 loss. You get where I'm coming from. So you've got to take that into account. And don't forget, beware of Harper 3 opening. It jumps around big time. 150 pips is nothing on opening. So guys overexposed on smaller accounts, going short, and it jumps up and then comes off. But they're being margin called. Don't forget, margin calls mean you haven't got enough free margin to sustain that particular open trade, so it'll automatically be closed by the market maker or bank. You must keep free margin there. Doesn't matter if you put your stop loss right up there and you have enough free margin, it jumps a bit, you get knocked out. That's why have free margin and some under play with. If you've got a small account, don't touch it. Doesn't matter you're right or wrong, you won't have enough to sustain the noise. Free margin sustain the noise. Yeah, well, I've spoken to dollar strength, just wanted to find a decent risk reward. Sometimes you miss out on a decent risk reward. It's coming off, no surprise, the dollar's moving up. But where are you going to put the risk reward scenario? Probably get a bit of noise down here, which will be 30 pips away. Stop up here, or maybe we can do up here. 100 pips stop. So you've got to expect to go to the 10, the 50. Let's try this again. We're looking about 150, 60 pips. It's got to get down to, that's not going to work either. That's even pushing us absolutely minimum TP to make your risk reward worth it. A few hiccups on the way there with all the stuff coming out. So, okay, so just bear that in mind. What, these two lines here? That's the 200 simple moving average, and that's the 50 simple moving average, and that's the 10-day simple moving average. Yeah. Okay, all good. Well, it might well be. It's too short a time for me to worry about a head and shoulder. There's bigger stuff coming in just than mere head and shoulder. Yeah? Could be inverted or it could be a normal one. Wouldn't worry about that in the 30-minute. Dollar strengthening, so there'll be a bit more downside. Probably get a bit of noise around figure 99 and the moving average. Will it get there? Highly likely. For scalp, we want a 20 pip risk. The chances are there. If it doesn't, you've got to risk quite a bit to get that 20. Is it worth it? Most is practice, yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. It is important. I think not just me saying so, you look back and you'll find it is important. It's simply because it's self-fulfilling. Most people have it this way. I'm not saying driving the left is the correct way, but the majority of people drive the left rather than not drive on the right. 200. 100 is quite popular, but nothing as popular as a 200, which is this one here. See, 200 moving, this one's a 50. And confirmation pattern is you made your mind up, you're about to sell it, then you want to see a confirmed entry by maybe look at a shorter term candle. Pivot points are important for short-term area of support resistance. Okay. No, when you start off, there's a lot of learning to be done, but soon it'll become habit. Oh, you sold, did you? Or do you buy it? I assume you sold it. Yeah. Well, dollar strengthening, that's fine. I've nothing wrong with it, any of them. I just couldn't find a decent risk reward ratio. I've missed out on trades that did go to the eventual expectation destination, but the risk wasn't worth the reward. At the moment, I would stick with buying the dollar. I would not be too keen selling the dollar. That's fine. ADCHF, anything happened there before we wrap up? Yep, it's coming off slowly but surely. S&P 3890, what are we at now? Doing nicely. So those who put the S&P are about 20 odd pips in profit, plus minus. And there's costs or whatever, but anyway, they're in profit. That's the bottom line. Okay. No, it's just come off quite a bit. It's getting a bit of momentum up. Will it be sustained or not? I don't know, but I'm okay with the dollar strength. Yeah. Okay, guys, it's been a bit quiet. We got a couple of trades out. It was a bit of a miracle. The feedback and getting all alerts and stuff, so it wasn't a total paint drying, rained off cricket match this training room this morning. That's the important part. So yeah, we've covered a bit. Markets opening 3:30, and the trading start at 4. Have a look then. Yeah, pivot points. You can actually, I'll do them here if you want. No problem at all. It does them for you. Just go to the investing.com, go to the landing page, put in whatever instrument you're looking at and search there. Search the website there, and then go to technicals. It'll give you the pivot points on the daily, 1 hour, weekly, or whatever, or what. Does it for you. You don't have to work it out. It's all for you. There's short-term support resistance. Okay. Don't forget, I think it's next Sunday. New York time is changing into their winter time, so it'll be 4:30 opening from Monday next week, not 3:30. The American markets. Just bear that in mind. Okay. Well done. Well done, Cheryl. Good stuff. Well done. Okay, good stuff. I hope to catch you mostly at 4 o'clock, and we revisit a couple of these and see if any more action can come about, and take it from there. Good stuff. Thanks, Knowledge. Thanks, guys. Glad you learned stuff. See you later, mate. Thanks, Kim. And the newer guys, hope you can stick with us and join again. Okay.